Hey everyone, and happy Easter. Welcome to this Queen Ager newsletter of Sunday, April the 5th. As ever, this is the video and audio version. If you want the actual written one, go to noon.org.uk. This is Eleanor Mills. So, dear Queen Agers, happy Easter. Or if that isn't your bag, then happy Festival of Spring or fertility or whatever else you're celebrating today. Remember, all our Christian festivals are plonked on the top of pagan ones. And whichever one you might choose or not choose to celebrate today, this time of year is all about the beginning of the new growing cycle. The blossom frothing, the green of leaves returning to the trees, the days lengthening, and the promise of warmth and summer. I'm currently in Frenchman's Creek down in Helford in Cornwall. You can see where I am behind me in the middle of the most beautiful wood. So I'm deep off-grid and it's in Daphne du Maurier country. This is behind me, you can see the cottage. So we're in Frenchman's Creek. I'm planning walks in the woods, swims in the Helford River, the tide's a bit low at the moment, and visits to turquoise coves if the weather plays ball. It's been a bit grey. I've packed my dry robe and thermals and a summer dress. It's one of those all seasons British breaks, sunbathing in a rug, if you're lucky. Wherever you are today, I wish you joy. For me, that means at Easter always mini eggs, fun, conviviality, nature, and probably a cold dip if the tide ever comes in. In fact, the theme for April across Noon is joy. I reckon there's enough gloom and doom out there in the world. So here at Noon, we're trying to plug into all the good stuff. And when the Noon Circle hosts convened this week for our monthly call, it was unanimously agreed that everyone is in need of cheering up. So at the circles this month, we're going to be exploring joy in its many facets. First, that we deserve joy, but also how we make it permeate our lives. And I think if we're going to do that, we also need to say yes to joy. And we need to seek it out and prioritise it for ourselves. Sometimes we're so busy and overwhelmed with holding up the sky and looking after everyone else, we Queen Agers can forget what makes us truly joyful. And that won't do. So the circles this month will explore how we remember the springs, the well springs, if you like, of our own joy. Sometimes it's people who make us joyful. Other times an activity or an expedition. So the invitation in this month's circles is to reconnect with our own joy. And a good place to start is by remembering what made us happy when we were kids. You won't be surprised to know my happy place has always been swimming and reading. Look, and here we are right by the creek. But what was that like for you? Where were you happiest when you were young and why? So one bit is about kind of the things which are in us essentially, and then the other bit is about connection. Why don't we all try and reconnect with somebody who makes us feel joyful? Could be a new mate that you met at a Noon Circle or on a walk. Or maybe you should be reaching out to someone you've shared joyful times with in the past, but whom you haven't seen for a while. Lockdown was terrible for that. I have friends whom I haven't been in touch with for ages. I bet you do too. Easter sometimes gives us some time to scroll through that old address book and send some long overdue messages. Or even better, call up an old pal. And if that doesn't appeal, what about going to listen to some comedy? The Bath Comedy Festival's in full swing. One of our Queen Agers is helping organise it. And then there are the more everyday mood boosters. Some of us like to exercise. We heard so much in the Noon Circle about different kind of things women did to cheer themselves up. Cheery music, movie, a book, walking on the grass with bare feet. What are the three things that reliably cheer you up? I love watching Gilmore Girls with my daughters. And I've also been watching a brilliant thing called Waiting for the Out, which is also on iPlayer. And if you want a movie, I really recommend Sentimental Value, the Norwegian movie that won best foreign film at the Oscars. I watched it on Amazon. I've been listening to a lot of ska, and we've been listening to Frenchman's Creek on audiobook. So do tell me what cheers you up at the moment, eleanor@noon.org.uk. And then, of course, the other way to bring some joy into our lives is to plan something fun to look forward to. Maybe a treat, a big ticket holiday, or if you're feeling skint, and who isn't at the moment, what about trying our Noon Walk Warwickshire Walk, swim and circle on July the 5th, only 25 quid. There'll be lots of fun people and cake. And we're also sprinkling a little bit of joy for you by offering 2 free trial Qigong sessions on Saturday, April the 11th and Saturday, April the 25th. They'll be live online from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on those 2 mornings. And they'll be hosted by Sue Llewellyn, who's a member of the Noon Surrey Circle, who's been running these sessions for our Surrey Queenagers since last year. I'm so thrilled to be able to make Qigong available to all of you. I absolutely love it. It's been a huge part of my own midlife chrysalis and journey. I started doing it when I went to Jamaica. When I went out there and I did 3 noble doses of psilocybin, magic mushrooms. We went there, we did them in a week. You can, if you want to read more about that trip, it's there on the Noon website and also in my book. But on the shrooms, I felt a huge sense of connection to everything. In the ego death that they bring about, I felt flooded with golden light, recharged by the universe. I knew that everything was interconnected and that I was part of all of it. And it made all my own problems and sadnesses feel rather small in comparison. Not that they went away, but just that there was a kind of shift in perspective. And in the afterglow of the trip, I found myself standing on a ledge overlooking the turquoise sea, feeling like I could touch and even conduct the streams of energy flowing all around me. It was like being in a wonderful dance with all the energies of the universe itself. One of the psychedelic ninjas, who were the people who looked after us when we were doing the tripping, asked me while I was dancing on the side of the sea if I knew about Qigong or if I did it. I said I didn't know what he was talking about. But apparently my dance had looked like Qigong moves. So when I got back to grey lockdown England, I was inspired to seek out Qigong to see if I could recreate that sense of flowing energies without the psychedelics. And the answer was an emphatic yes. Doing Qigong put me right back in the Jamaica Golden Light Zone. The other thing that does that, which I still practice every day, is meditation, or indeed walking in the woods or swimming in the water. So what is Qigong? Well, it's a simplified type of Tai Chi. Qi or Qi here means energy or life force, and the Qigong is the practice. It's easy to learn, as I discovered many of the moves are very instinctive. It's much gentler than yoga or Pilates, and to do it, you don't even need a yoga mat. Just loose clothes and enough room to stretch out your arms and bend over and move around. It also works surprisingly well doing it as an online session. I did it that way throughout the whole of lockdown. And Sue Llewellyn, our Noon Qigong teacher, like me, is also a former journalist. She found Qigong helped her. This is her quote. She says, "Get out of my racing mind and into my body. Qigong is healing and joy in motion. Gentle, no resistance, nature-based. It gives you that feeling of sparkling sun on water. Not that much of that today, but I can give you water. But anyway, that sense of sparkling sun on water, which is chi or flow. It's like you step off the planet and into yourself for an hour. It makes you feel more alive and is a great reliever of stress, grief or debilitation." She says that after an hour of gentle movement, the birds sound louder, the colours brighter. She says it's naturally restorative. Practicing Qigong is like knocking on the door of life and beckoning it in. She says she took it up because her mother had Alzheimer's and her dad had had a stroke, and she wanted to extend her health span. And by that she meant remaining for as long as possible as she feels now. Sue's great, and a great advert for it. She's a vibrant 65, former producer and reporter at news at the BBC for most of her career. She says, "I left in 2008 when I was 47. I looked around and realised there were no women over 50 in the newsroom, so it was time to do something different." Actually, the BBC realised they'd made a mistake and called her back, and Sue trained the entire newsroom in how to use Twitter. And now she also works teaching public speaking and confidence, but she much prefers teaching Qigong. Indeed, the practice of it is her Queenager passion. It's her joy, and she believes that in a decade or so it will be as big as yoga. So if you'd like to find out a bit more about Sue, check out her website, which is Surrey Hills Qigong, and also come to her taster sessions for us here at Noon. Let me see the water. She's passionate about spreading the wonder of Qigong to as many people as possible because it's been so life-changing for me, she says. Well, it was pretty life-changing for me too. So I'm delighted to be able to offer all our Noon paid Noon subscribers a couple of free online sessions so you can see what all the fuss is about for yourself. If you'd like to be part of the class, just book here. There's a link in the email. And if you're a basic member or not yet a member, I know that we've got about 20,000 people on this newsletter, but not all of you are members of Noon, so maybe this might jog you into it. £8 a month, very cheap. You'll get the Qigong. You can come along to an online Noon Circle with me on April the 7th. And of course, free to any Noon Circle outside London. And in the meantime, just stay happy, get outside, reach out to someone who makes you laugh, who you haven't chatted to for a while. And why not book yourself a little treat or a retreat? And if Easter has felt a bit lonely, remember, you're not the only one. Noon has a whole new tribe of friends you haven't met yet. So come along and find some joy and find some people to hang out with, because that's often the key to having a good time. And I'll leave you with a bit of where I am in the woods around Frenchman's Creek. There's the water, here's the bridge, there's the house and the blossom. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of kind of Easter green in the woods of Helford. Much love and see you all soon.